This is not your first time in India. What brings you to India this time?
Well, this time I came to India for a very special event.
In your experience, what is it that separates people who are successful from others? What is the difference between spending and investing in oneself?
And that can be a nice watch, it can be a great car, it can be a bespoke suit. You are aligned with your own values, and then of course you want to align and you want to have your clothing actually align with your personality.
What have you seen in your personal experience that has made a difference when you met people around the world? Do you think heritage holds the importance it does, or it doesn't mean much anymore? What luxury means to them in today's context? What are your thoughts on that?
Probably have different kinds of luxury.
How they can think differently and how they can be a bit more influential and create lasting success. If there was one thing that you'd want to leave them with, what would it be?
For me, it's about trying to be yourself. There's a bit of introspection to do, I think, for everybody. Is trying to understand who you are, what you stand for. I know you have. I mean, you've been very passionate about bespoke clothing, about tailoring, about good products. So I think that's something that we have in common. Yeah.
Sure. So trust and passion.
Trust and passion.
Yes,
that's
wonderful.
what it is.
Welcome to this episode of Bespoke Talks by N RAO, the show that explores the mindset, habits, and lifestyle of ambitious individuals who shape industries, lead with confidence, and create lasting legacies. I'm Ketan, and today we are honored to have a guest who embodies these very principles, Gregor Thyssen, Executive Chairman of Scabal. Scabal has been a leader in luxury menswear and fine fabrics since 1938, dressing some of the most powerful and influential people in the world. Gregor understands not just craftsmanship of luxury, but also the psychology behind why successful people invest in quality, heritage, and refinement. Today, we'll explore how high achievers think about success, the subtle cues that define influence, the way luxury is evolving in today's world. Gregor, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
Yeah. So today we'll explore how achievers think about success, what it means to them, how they are influenced by luxury, and what it means to them, really. This is not your first time in India. What brings you to India this time?
Well, this time I came to India for a very special event. We were launching our very new collection called Vision, inspired by Salvatore Dali.
Yeah.
And so we had quite a large event that we hosted on Saturday night at the Belgian Embassy. And that was really the main reason for me coming to India this time.
Yes, I was there, and as you know, and it was wonderful to see many people from the industry as the art world as well as the fashion world together, along with people from the embassies coming in.
Yeah, it was really enjoyable to see also the community. We talked briefly before starting about community. It was wonderful to see also the community of Indian tailors, designers coming together, because I mean that's something I think which unites us, and it's really across the world. It's
very small community, isn't it?
It's a small community, but it's a very tight community.
Yeah.
I mean, Bespoke is really something which gets people together. I mean, it's a thought, it's a vision, it's a way of life, which binds us, I think, all of us, and so it's always nice to see people coming together.
Absolutely, yeah. So, Gregor, Scabal has been synonymous with timeless elegance and quality, I think, since 1938, isn't it?
Correct.
Yeah. So, but beyond just luxury clothing, it's also a certain mindset. So, in your experience, what is it that separates people who are successful from others?
I think there's many things, but maybe the primary thing, at least as far as Scabal is concerned, is quality.
Right.
I think we are very quality focused. Typical phrase we would use is we never cut cost when it comes to quality.
Right.
We're very interested in making sustainable products that can be traced, where the whole production process is transparent. We buy our own wool. We spin it ourselves. We have our weaving plant in the UK. So I think this is something which our customers have really come to appreciate. It's a question of confidence. It's being sure that whatever product you buy and you wear, because it's something you wear, it's close to your skin, it's close to your body, has been made according to certain rules. So for me, this is the ultimate luxury. Actually, it's to know what you're wearing and being very conscious of what you're wearing. Of course, then thereafter, we also like to put some emotional value into our products.
Right.
Like, for example, with the Dali collection, I think there's a really artistic, creative dimension to it. So we give people, I think, something to talk about, a story, engage in a conversation between the retailer and the
Yes.
customer. I think that's very important. Is to
It's
be
the
able
whole
to-
experience of the
Exactly.
of buying something and feeling that, right?
It's the human touch, really,
Yes.
at the end of the day. So we're always very happy. And as I said, when we had the event, I really felt this close connection with people that put a lot of heart into what they do. And I'm sure they're excellent advisors to their consumers in terms of what fits them, what doesn't fit them, what fits their personality. So that's important, I think.
Absolutely. So, people often ask us, what is the difference between spending and investing in oneself?
Well, I think it's the longevity of what you acquire. It's something that you can keep. I mean, that you might even be able to transmit to next generations.
Yeah.
I always think that's a nice thing, and that can be a nice watch. It can be a great car. It can be a bespoke suit, which I know people that have transmitted their bespoke suits from generation to generation.
Yes.
They had them altered a little bit for the sons. Or fathers bringing in their sons to dress them for the first time in a bespoke suit. So I think it's longevity, sustainability. I think that's something which
We have a lot of people coming into our store. Now we have often we have seen the fourth generation coming in.
Fantastic.
And shopping with us.
Yeah.
And the one emotion that they bring in when they come in is that, look, we have been shopping with you guys for my father, my grandfather has shopped with us, and now I'm going to bring in my son. And they also they always think it's the lucky charm.
Yes.
Especially when it comes to things like weddings, which is very big in
Of course,
India,
that's a big thing in India. I know. Yeah.
So they say it's the lucky charm to come and shop with us. So we see that all the time.
Yeah.
And when you say that generational kind of thing, it makes such a big difference, doesn't it?
It does make a big difference, and I think as a producer, as a retailer, as an advisor to families, I think it's very rewarding to be able to take things across generations and create this awareness also with the younger generation about quality and about what a crafted piece of clothing is like, and what is the difference towards some lesser quality stuff.
Sure. So now, there are a lot of influential people in the world that Scabal has dressed and clothed over the years, not missing out the 007s of the world and many influential politicians and so on and so forth. There is something about a presence of a person and a perception of a person that is created when one is dressed and of maybe how they react. In your purview, what makes this perception and what makes this presence of a person?
Again, that's a multi-layered thing, and I think some of it is you cannot learn. I think it's innate. But I guess from a personal point of view, I think what's important is that you're sort of like you're aligned with yourself. You're confident in yourself. You are aligned with your own values, and then of course you want to align, and you want to have your clothing actually align with your personality.
Yeah, it's an extension of oneself. You think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's where I think the clothing advisor comes in. He would have an understanding of he would try to get an understanding of who you are, what you really are, what is your personality, what are your values, what are your preferences. And then he would be able to cater to that and choose the right fabric, choose the right cut, choose the right the right model. And by doing that, you will create a whole persona, which is really complete, and so which where the inner values actually align with the outer appearance,
right?
And that makes for a confident appearance. And then you can own the room. You can have the presence that actually people will feel that, and it's not necessarily they will not necessarily be able to say, okay, this is a super 200 or it's a super 150s. Yes. But they will see the difference.
Yes,
and that
because when they wear it and when they don it, it makes them feel
exactly.
Yeah.
It's a question of confidence at the end of the day.
Yes, absolutely. So in business and in life, like we say, powerful people actually don't necessarily need to speak loud.
Lovely.
Yeah, it's the subtle signs, and there are these little bit of these cues that that they give away. In your experience, how does a tailored suit or a handshake or an eye contact of a person, something like that? What have you seen in your personal experience that has made a difference when you've met people around the world?
Well, it's exactly what you said. It's the eye contact. It's the handshake. It's the certain firmness. It's the overall attitude. It's being confident and being confident in yourself and in others. It's I think being open, being curious. Plays a big role, and then of course, as you said, I mean, I think the attire does play a role. I mean, when you walk into a room and you wear a bespoke suit, people will look at you. You'll feel comfortable. People will feel comfortable with you, and sort of it's an interactive thing.
Yeah.
And, invariably with people that have that, there's this inner confidence. They don't need to shout. They don't need to speak out very loudly. But when they speak, they know what they say.
Yeah.
Which is also important.
Yes.
I've noticed over the years that people tend to respect that.
Right.
Of course, now unfortunately we live in a world where shouting seems to become more popular. We have unfortunately leaders that have developed a new style of communication, which seems to unfortunately go away from that. But still, I believe that on the long run, people that have this quiet, calm authority will prevail over those who shout and so very sort of like erratic and
right.
I think persistency is in my mind at least is a very important value. It's something that I personally try to achieve, and as a brand is something that we've also tried to pursue is this consistency. It's longevity. It's not changing every year, every week what we're doing and what we stand for.
Yeah.
I think that's something which on the long run, people tend to respect and value, and loyalty is an important aspect in that as well, I think.
Yeah, when you mentioned this, we are both heritage brands, of course, in fine fabrics and fine tailoring and so on and so forth. But nowadays there is the whole startup culture versus on the other side you have heritage, which is lineage and coming down from so many years and so on. Do you think heritage holds the importance that it does, or is it not? It doesn't mean much anymore.
Oh no, certainly it means a lot. I think probably more than ever. I think in a world which is so fast paced and fast changing, and where people have lost a little bit the sense of direction. And many, I mean, religions have lost their importance. So. To a certain extent, brands maybe are the new religions, and they can play a role, play a very positive role. And heritage, of course, gives you legitimacy. I mean, you've been there, you've been doing it for many years. You know what you're doing.
Right.
Nothing wrong with startups, because of course every heritage brand started as a startup. So nothing wrong with startups, but. I think heritage and longevity and consistency, as I said before, give you this sort of like sense of legitimacy. I mean, where you have expertise, you have acquired experience, which people can relate to, and they can sort of like think, okay, this is something I can believe in, and that is something I can follow. So I think for both you and I, this is something quite important, and I think we should be proud of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we keep talking about it a lot, and internally, and we see there are many brands coming in that are much more nimble. They can make changes a lot. They can start some things, stop some things. But when we look at ourselves as heritage brands, we are much more slow paced with some of the decision making and the things, because we have to take care of our. We have a lot to take care of, and some people say you have a lot to lose, my friend. So
Well, I don't think you shouldn't look at it that way. I think once you start to be afraid of losing something, you become defensive, and that's not necessarily a good thing. I think even for heritage brands, they need to evolve.
Yeah, change is constant. Absolutely.
So it's a fine balance. You want to strike between being sort of like aware of your history, being consistent, but yet you need to adapt. You need to evolve. I mean, markets change, people's expectations change, your own expectations will change. So I think we're always on the lookout of what we can do better, what can we do differently, what can we align with today's way of doing things without compromising our history. So
Right.
that's the fine balance to strike.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
The fine balance is always the space that we spend a lot of time
Yes,
in
exactly.
to understand, how
Correct.
fine that needs to be and how much we can push the boundaries.
Well,
and
same here.
Yeah.
same experience, I guess. Yeah,
absolutely. So when we look at evolution of luxury over this period of time, and we have Gen Z and new generations coming in, it's luxury, of course, has been about, like we just talked about, exclusivity, craftsmanship, and quality. But as the world changes, so does people's perspective and what luxury means to them in today's context. What are your thoughts on that?
That's a tough one. I think you probably have different kinds of luxury, and you definitely have two main currents. I think one is the more extrovert luxury, which evolves a lot around logos, around big fashion shows, big celebrities, endorsements, and things like that. Which is okay. It's a respectable space, and I think maybe it's attractive to a lot of G-Zenners, Generation Zers, but I think you also have this other space of luxury, which sometimes is called quiet luxury.
Quiet luxury.
Where it is more about the other feature or attributes that we talked about, like quality, sustainability, transparency, intrinsic quality of goods, about values that are attached to a brand. And both can live their lives in parallel, and both are perfectly valid, I think. And,
Absolutely.
Of course, our space is more the second space,
Yes.
Without any doubt. We don't like to shout too much, even though you need to communicate, of course. But we don't like to shout too much. So I mean, that would be my natural tendency, natural preference. But we have to respect the fact that these two exist.
Yeah.
Now, what is interesting to see is that with the younger generation, whichever you want to call it, Generation Z, Alpha, whatever, there is a return towards a more refrained type of luxury, which is more down to experience, to the sense of value. And again, this is probably a reaction to this world which is going too fast and it's too superficial, and of course social media have a role to play, which is kind of biased in that. So it's interesting that I mean, I see this with my own kids. I have 4 kids, and they tend to be more interested now in proper well-made stuff and brands that have a certain story to tell, which is not just about being with the next celebrity and having the next big endorsement. So there is that as well, I think.
Right. And you think that space how you think is going to evolve in the next, like, say, 3 to 5 years?
I can see this clearly, that there is this return to more authentic quality and authenticity. I think I can see that, which I of course would applaud. And an interesting one, I even spoken a lot in our industry about the disappearance of the suit. The suit being, of course, the classical expression of men's elegance, and of course casualization. COVID brought around a lot of things which we didn't think would be possible. So you can see that there is sort of like a counter movement now, and again, even with young people, they tend to dress up again, and my own son went to his grad with a very nice bespoke suit that we made for him, and I could really see how confident he was, and how good a reaction he got. He was the only one who was actually wearing a suit, so he stood out. So yeah, I think there is a return. So hopefully this will continue, and we will see this in the next 3-4 years too. We will see a comeback of the more formal type of dressing, I would say.
Right.
Yeah.
So at P and RAO, we are also like we said, change is constant, and for Gen Z as well, we have constantly been pushing the bar in terms of the tailoring angle, to bring in the garments that is much more lightweight, sometimes with lesser form and structure
Yes.
that a typical classic suit has, to meet the demands of this kind of generation. So many years ago, actually more than about 8 or 9 years ago, we started selling the shacket, which is basically the shirt and the jacket. So you get as light as a shirt, and but still has the formality of a jacket. And we are the good thing is that we are doing it as suits a lot nowadays. And we actually showcased one in the at the Dali event as well.
Yeah,
So
I saw
the stripe one with that
was nice.
with the deco on it. So I think it was very well received because it had on the inside almost nothing. As light as a shirt, and worn with drawstring trousers.
Yeah.
And the trousers with elasticated only on the inside, so it's not wholly visible.
Right.
So and you can wear it with pumps as well.
Sure.
Sneakers kind of look. So I think there are a lot of people even now that we have in our stores who come and buy fabrics like Scabal and make garments
a
like
new
this.
type of garment.
A new type of garment.
Yes.
And in the south of India, where most all our stores are located, the weather is not as cold as let's say the north of India or other parts of the world, but people do, of course, they travel outside the country and so on, but in their spaces they find it very easy and comfortable to wear as well. So
That's
one is the weather, and two is the type of construction of the garment.
That's interesting you should say that, and I think that is very true. I think the modern suit has definitely evolved. I mean, first of all, same for us. I mean, we use much lighter materials, much less material inside. I mean, unconstructed shoulders, very lightweight canvases and stuff like that. And so that's an overall trend, I think, which has been there for a while, and it is very much appreciated by younger generation. And then you mentioned these new forms of for example, the shirt jacket. I've never heard the term of shacket. I've never heard that one.
No, we've been using it for at least 8 or 9 years now.
Okay, I'd never heard it. So you live and learn. Even if my old age, you still learn. Or the drawstring trousers. I mean, all these things are interesting because they give an interesting twist to something quite classical and make it into something modern and new. I mean, that's a perfect example of being sort of like in the heritage space, but with a new twist. So I think that's perfectly fine. And it gives a new interesting way for people to express themselves. Yeah.
So you were talking earlier about sustainability.
Yep.
So of course, we know that the younger generation, as you mentioned earlier, is also looking at sustainability. So can you elaborate a little bit about how Scabal is working towards the sustainability bit?
Sure. First of all, our whole business model is a quite sustainable model in the sense that we hardly work with any ready-to-wear people. We hardly do any ready-to-wear ourselves. It is all about made to measure or made to order.
Yes.
So by definition, that reduces waste.
Oh, you're absolutely right. Yeah, most people don't think of it that way.
Exactly.
Especially when you look at ready to wear. That's what you're comparing against.
Yeah.
Correct.
I mean, I think there's a horrific number which always is in my mind, that about 40% of the clothing produced in the world gets thrown away.
Right.
Because it's just produced.
And then there's nobody to buy it.
And nobody to buy it, so it gets thrown away. So by having a bespoke business model, I think already you're quite
No, that's very well said. That's very well said. We don't think about it like that most of the time.
Well,
yeah,
which is something we probably need to educate people about.
Yes,
because many people don't think about it, as you rightly say.
Yeah.
The second dimension would be, I think, the type of materials that you use. We only use natural fibers, so it's wool, it's cashmere, silks. Stuff like that. So by definition, they're biodegradable, so they don't really put so much strain on the environment. We use, for example, Australian wool that we know the growers of the wool. They really are very very strong on animal welfare, which is also part of sustainability. So we know that the material is actually produced under very good conditions. The factories we use are all based in Europe, so we have very severe regulations in terms of water usage, chemicals that can be used. So the strain on the environment there is really minimized. Of course, all the people that work for us, and we know all of them because we have the whole supply chain under our control.
Yes.
All people work under excellent conditions. They're well paid. They're well taken care of. So that's another element that we like to point out. And then we have a whole sustainability project going on, which that tackles things like energy. So we've switched to solar energy. All our factories have solar panels on their roofs. We're trying to work on things which are very hard to work on, like transport. We need to bring things from one end to the other. So that's still an issue. Waste, packaging. So packaging is something we're working on, trying to find biodegradable materials, things like that. So we have a multi-annual agenda, and we issue a sustainability report every year, trying to monitor our measure and publicize the results under certain reporting standards. So we take sustainability quite seriously. Not because it's a market requirement, but because we really feel quite strongly about it. I personally get a lot of pressure at home because my daughter is a climate activist.
Oh, is she?
She's currently in Brazil at the climate conference.
Okay.
So I get a lot of pressure to do things right. But I kidding aside, I also personally really believe that as a company in the clothing sector, which is one of the most polluting sectors in the world, by the way, we have a responsibility to act responsibly and to work on sustainability. That's quite important to us.
So even at P and RAO during the COVID period, we took the decision to solar panel our entire facility. So we run one of the largest bespoke tailoring facilities in the country, just places for bespoke only. So we have one shed, 15,000 square feet thereabouts, where we do most of our bespoke tailoring, and we have another section for our ready-to-wear line as well. But we took that decision and we solar powered that whole space. So sustainability has been for us ingrained again from a long time to come. Whether it was my grandfather, because it was a way of life more than a title of saying that we are sustainable.
Yep.
So my dad always has these stories about how they needed to shrink these canvases and they would bring them home, and they were like quite young boys, and then they would put them in a well and then and it would be really heavy, and then they would have to bring it out and line dry it and things like that. Yeah. So they would do that on their own, and they would not want to go ahead and give it out to somebody. And they'll have more water usage and so on and so forth.
Well, that's very much I think in line with our spirit. I mean, we really like to have things under our control, not because we don't trust other people, but if you have them under control, you know what's going on, and you can and you can actually communicate about things in a transparent way. So very much aligned with that. That's nice.
So in our tech-driven world, so it's everything about technology and AI coming in and all these kind of all these kind of things. When you look at craftsmanship, and it could be craftsmanship of a suit or of anything that furniture, or it could be cars. So when it comes to craftsmanship, and especially bespoke craftsmanship, it's something that it's spoken for you, which is what we call bespoke for. So when we have a complete tech-driven world, and when we have utter class craftsmanship on the other side, where do you feel that stands over a period of time?
I think these two things can perfectly coexist, and there's not necessarily competition between the two. I think there's a space for technology, and for example, in our company, we use technology quite extensively when it comes to admin, for example. We have been one of the first companies, I think, first cloth merchants to have a fully computerized inventory system. Nowadays we have a very sophisticated new ERP system that supports our whole business. We will use AI wherever it really helps, wherever it can support our efficiency. But on the other hand, when it comes to the more essential ingredients of making a product, for example, we feel that the human touch is still very important. So that's where we get our hands dirty, so to speak. And this is at all our production sites. We have very experienced people that know how to properly craft a garment or a fabric. Same story. So I don't think these things compete. They can really coexist. And again, when we come back to what people want today, I think there is a strong interest in crafted products, because Machine-made products, sometimes they can just become mass products and everybody has the same, and by definition they tend to be more standardized, whereas crafted products can be really individualized. They can be made to really the specifications of the individual customer, so it takes the whole thing to a whole different dimension. And then the next thing is obviously, I think, it's the human dimension in human contact. You cannot, I think, replace the one-to-one interview that you have with your client. This feeling you get when you interact with your customer.
End customer, yeah.
That cannot be replaced by any machine. No way. For me, one example is the body scanner. Body scanners have been hailed for many years. That's the next thing in bespoke tailoring.
It hasn't been around.
No.
You'll be surprised to know that when I was in college, and this was more than about 20 years ago.
Well, for me, it's much longer.
I did my master's project on body scanning at the London College of Fashion.
Okay, right.
So I spent almost a year researching about that, and I did my paper on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you would agree that today,
it hasn't really caught on 20 years, since, and we would think that maybe 20 years. I would have thought that 20 years ahead, then it would be commonplace,
replacing everything.
But it's not commonplace yet. Yeah.
No, I mean, we have experience of one of our customers who has it and uses it, but he basically uses it as a marketing tool.
Yeah.
So they measure up using the body scanner, and then they come back and do the hand measuring. So. It hasn't really happened, that one.
Yeah. Okay, some rapid fire now.
Sure.
Okay, so what's one habit that all successful people should develop?
Oh man, that's a tough one. Looking in the mirror every morning, have a look at yourself, and be happy.
Yeah, and be happy. Yeah, that's a good one. That's important, actually.
Actually, be happy. Yeah, be happy and thankful.
Yeah. What's an investment that you've made in yourself that has changed your life?
That's an interesting one. I've joined a group called YPO, Young Presidents Organization, when I was I think 35 years old.
Right.
And that has really shaped me because it brought me together with my peers, all company owners, directors. And we have these little groups that we work with. We meet every month. We get together and we talk about life, about business, about ourselves, about our relationships, about kids, what have you. And it's been really formative for me because it made me realize that even the most successful people, even the brightest people, they're all vulnerable. And we all have our issues. We all have our weaknesses, and so once you start to realize that, things fall into perspective, and even the biggest business challenges become challenges that you can overcome.
Right.
So that for me was really it was an investment because it's a huge investment in time to dedicate hours to that organization. I've been myself quite active in it. I've been on the boards of these things for many times. But I've learned so much from my peers and just exchanging, be open and understand the world. It's been fantastic, and it's a worldwide network.
They have a chapter in India as well.
They do have a chapter in India. The Indian chapter is very active, very big. There's more than one actually.
Yes.
So that has really helped me, and it's also helped my wife, for example, who's joined, and it's a family thing. So that is.
Oh, that's a nice one. That's good to know. Tell me one misconception about luxury.
Misconception about luxury?
Yeah.
That it has to be expensive. I don't think luxury has to be expensive. Of course, there is always a little price tag, of course, because quality has a price, but it does not have to be overly expensive. I think luxury companies, by and large, have made a mistake over the last couple of years by pushing up prices to crazy levels. And even people that have no problem affording these products today have come to think that there's the mismatch between intrinsic quality and the price.
Right.
So for me, luxury does not necessarily always have to be expensive. Yeah. It's more about the intrinsic quality, the intention that the brand has, than actually the price.
No. Nice. If you could dress one historical leader or modern leader, who would be?
Many, because not all of them are well dressed.
Okay.
That's a hard one. Well, this might sound funny, but maybe Donald Trump, in the sense, not that I like or respect the guy, and this is probably politically incorrect, but I think by dressing him and by trying to convey values to him through his dressing, maybe we could get him to be a little bit different.
That's an interesting answer. I like that one. Yeah, I'd be happy to.
You would do that for us?
Anytime.
We'll send him to you. We used to, by the way, that's funny. Can I just put in a little anecdote? We used to have a customer in the UK called Georges de Paris.
Okay.
He was based in Washington, and he was dressing all the American presidents, and he was a great fan of Scabal.
Right.
So, a lot of the American presidents have worn Scabal,
right,
without really making a big story out of it. But he was quite an interesting character, and he was actually French, but he lived in Washington, and so he dressed all the presidents used to go to him.
Okay,
Yeah.
Oh, that's an interesting one. Yeah. Okay, so if there was if you were 25 today,
Yeah.
what advice would what advice would you give yourself?
Trust yourself.
Right.
Trust yourself. I think that when you're young, and I can see this again with my kids, it's you have a lot of doubts, self-doubts, doubts about people around you, and it's really trust yourself and others, which I think makes for, well, first of all, it makes for a much better life. If you trust people, if you trust yourself, you don't have to worry so much, and you'll get hit, and you'll have your downs and you have your misadventures. But at the end of the day, and this is again some few things that I've learned through YPO is we're all the same, and we all go through ups and downs.
Yeah, absolutely.
We all go through mishaps and tough periods in life. But you brush yourself off and stand up and go again. So it's really this trust, which
nice one.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was good. So, Gregor, it's been an incredible conversation.
Thank you.
Once again, thank you for coming in and agreeing to do this.
My pleasure.
Really happy.
My pleasure.
For it. Before we end, maybe we could give our listeners, like one key takeaway in terms of how they can think differently and how they can be a bit more influential and create lasting success. If there was one thing that you would want to leave them with, what would it be?
Well, yeah, for me, it's about trying to be yourself. There's a bit of introspection to do, I think, for everybody, is trying to understand who you are, what you stand for, what you want to stand for. And once you know that, then you can find your place in life and be something who can influence. I think you don't want to be a spectator in life. I think that for me is one thing I always resent, and again, something I try to teach my kids is don't be a spectator, be an actor, be active, be proactive. Take your life in your own hands and try to shape things, try to help others to shape things. I think that will almost automatically make you into somebody who's successful and respected and appreciated by your communities.
No, absolutely. Yeah, that's so true. And finally, for those who want to explore Scabal's work and the things that they do, would you want to point them into a direction where they can find more information?
Well, of course, there's our website, scabal.com. We have some publications that we bring out, Instagram. I'm not the greatest one on social media, but I think we're quite active on Instagram. We're quite active on Facebook.
Yes.
So there's a lot of information there, and of course, our local representatives. For example, in India we have Bobby Bindra, who's been a long time distributor, who's a brilliant guy, who's a world of information, and the same in all the other countries. As I said, we work in 80 different countries. We have sometimes our own subsidiaries, sometimes we have affiliated distributors, and I think they're all what really binds them. And I find this when I travel around the world. What all binds them is the passion about the product and the company, and they will always be very willing to share their knowledge. And they're all very knowledgeable about the brand, but also about the products. So go to a Scabal affiliate wherever you live, and you'll get some
more
response.
information.
Yeah.
No, but I think you ended on that point about passion, and I think that's extremely important to be part of this business, and even for oneself. If you have passion in something, in whatever you do, I think it brings out the best in oneself.
Absolutely.
And the result can also be
yes. Well, it's part of our slogan, passion for cloth.
Absolutely.
Maybe we underrated that one. It's true. I mean, passion, I think, is really something which, but passion comes from trust, I think. So that's why I highlighted the trust thing. But passion comes from that. I think once you have trust in what you say, you can develop the passion for it.
Yes.
And I think our guys have, and I know you have. I mean, you've been very passionate about bespoke clothing, about tailoring, about good products. So I think that's something that we have in common. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So trust and passion.
Trust and passion.
Yes,
that's
wonderful.
what it is.
Thank you very much for this, and it's a great having you on the show, on the podcast. Wonderful, Gregor.
Thank you.
That's it for today's episode of Bespoke Talks by N RAO. A huge thank you to Gregor Thyssen for joining us and sharing his insights into success, influence, and the evolving world of luxury. If you enjoyed this conversation, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and follow us on our YouTube and Instagram channels for more conversations with industry leaders and high performers.